Well, hi everybody. It's fun to be back with you again. And what we were going to share with you today was a carrot cake. I've always loved carrot cakes. I've never made one since we really got into our whole food plant-based life because, you know, they always have so much sugar and oil. I looked up some of the kind of standard recipes for carrot cake, and I mean, like, there is so much oil. And then especially the cream cheese frosting, there's like a quarter pound of butter and a half a cup of cream cheese. And it's like, well, this may not work for us anymore. So I started with Chef AJ's carrot muffin recipe. And I've modified that to bring it into line with what my memory of really good carrot cake is. So we made this last week and we thought we'd share it with you today. All whole food plant-based, of course. And so it starts with ripe bananas. And we put them in the food processor with the S-blade. And we get that all pureed. That's going to be the first base that we work with. You saw a couple of chunks, so I'm going to pulse it, get those chunks taken care of. Okay, we're talking pureed bananas, you can see. And let's scrape that down, get those larger pieces back down. More of the ingredients. And this recipe can be used as a carrot cake, or it can be used as breakfast squares. You know, I like to make different breakfast squares. As a cake, I like it pretty smooth. As a breakfast square, I like it kind of chunky. So as a cake, since I'm doing that today, I'm going to put the rolled oats in now. If I was going to make the squares, I would hold them out and fold them in so that the squares, you know, they have more of that granola, rolled oat quality to it. But these are going in today. So I've got a cup and a half of rolled oats. I've got half a cup of applesauce. So I just bought some applesauce because, to be honest with you, the applesauce we make, I don't want to hide it in something I bake. It is so delicious. I can't imagine disguising it behind a bunch of carrots and rolled oats. We just love that stuff straight. So when I use applesauce in a recipe, I'm usually using purchased. And so then we have, now this is interesting, something that Chef AJ has started using is ground millet. So it's like millet flour. The thing about millet is that it's gluten-free, of course, and it has a dry, crunchy kind of quality to it. So I've been playing with that too, using ground millet in some of my baked recipes, and I'm liking what it does. Okay, so there's the ground millet, the rolled oats. Now we've got 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, quarter teaspoon of nutmeg, teaspoon of baking powder, teaspoon of baking soda, and a half teaspoon of vanilla powder. So I always used to use, I didn't used to use a lot of vanilla, but listening to Chef AJ more, she is so emphatic about the difference in quality of the taste and also health benefits of using vanilla powder instead of vanilla extract. So I've purchased some powder, and it's expensive, but it goes quite a ways. And I have to agree with her. There is a more of a rich body to the vanilla flavor when I use the vanilla powder. So I've kind of made the shift. Okay, so I think that's everything that goes in there, except how much is this? This is the apple cider vinegar. 1.5 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar. And what this does, because this is kind of a heavy dough, you've got your baking powder and baking soda. The purpose of those is that as you add your wet ingredients, they start to activate and they create a little bit of air in there to lighten the dough. When it's heavy like it is with rolled oats, if you put apple cider vinegar in with your baking powder, it really activates, because what it is, the baking powder is alkaline and then the vinegar is acidic, and it creates this chemical reaction and it just goes bananas and makes it a lot lighter. So that's what we've got here. Put that in. I don't know if you can see, it's fizzing. It's actually fizzing.
Yeah, I can. See.
And see, I got a lot of the vanilla powder up on the edge. I'll scrape that down and get it in.
And now you just pulse with the grain in there. Huh?
Yeah, I just pulse. I don't want to mix it any more than I have to. I really want to turn those rolled oats into flour. So I just pulse to get it very well mixed. That'll do it. So I take that, I put it in a bowl, and then I'll fold in the rest of the ingredients.
Well, that's pretty quick. If
Isn't
that's,
it?
yeah,
Isn't that nice?
very little preparation.
Yeah. Well, I did a little prep ahead of time, of course. So, cutting up the carrots and measuring everything out. So it took a little longer than what you just saw, but it's a pretty simple recipe. Oops, so I'll put this into the bowl, and then we'll just fold in everything else.
Then it gets really fast from here on out.
Well, yeah, if you've got everything prepped,
Yeah,
you're done.
yeah, you're done. I like that.
Okay, there's that. And fold in carrots. So we've got 2 cups of carrots. And I've got 2 cups of pretty small dice on apples. Well, this is something that Chef AJ doesn't add. Pineapple. I've got a quarter of a cup of pineapple. How much pineapple do I have? Third of a cup. Third of a cup of pineapple. And I've got how many raisins? A quarter of a cup of raisins. So that is my carrot cake. So you can mix all that in.
I love the chunky apple and
Yeah.
pineapple.
Yeah. And it's interesting because, you've got the chunky apple, but when it bakes, those apples get soft. I didn't even notice them. Did you notice them?
No, I
They
didn't.
like disappeared.
They
But it's
did.
a nice whole food addition. So
Bill,
that's,
it must replace a lot of the oil that or the feeling of wetness or moistness that the oil
Yeah.
would give, right?
that's the thing. The carrot cakes, zucchini bread, they were always so moist, and that's one of the things I loved about them. But gosh, they used a half a cup of oil or something.
I
And
have a
that-
recipe that was absolutely amazing, and it used 1.5 cups of oil.
Oh my gosh.
It
Yeah.
made a huge cake, like a 12 by 14 or something ridiculous. But
Yeah,
I mean, that oil was like, ugh.
yeah. Well, that's one of the reasons why I think there are so many health issues so common in North America today, is that we just go for that kind of taste quality instead of what's really, I don't know if this can work.
You're going to put it in the oven.
No, it's not- it's definitely moving.
Oh, it'll work.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, so the last time I made it, I put it in the 8x8 and everything was fine. And I don't have a lot of room above this springform that I'm putting it in. So I've got to get it all down below there. So I think that's going to be enough. Now, I lined my springform with parchment paper. That is not necessary, but I like it because it makes cleanup so easy. Nothing sticks. And I don't know how much this would stick actually to the springform, but I decided to line it with the parchment paper, which is kind of a hassle. So not necessary, but it's one of my things. I'm going to put it in the oven, 350 degrees for 40 minutes. And there we go. Okay, so that is the carrot cake. Now, one of the things that is so common with carrot cake is that sour cream frosting. And boy, the recipes I looked up about the sour cream frosting were scary, actually, because they had so much sugar and so much oil and so much fat. It was like, man, this is gonna not work on this food regimen that we have. So again, Chef AJ, I love her creativity and her knowledge of cooking. She, for her cinnamon buns, let me rinse this. For her cinnamon bun, she put together a sweet potato topping. And so I went back to that and modified that sweet potato topping. That's basically 2 cups of sweet potato. So I've cooked the sweet potato. And then I'll sweeten that a little bit more with a little bit of pineapple. That was 1/4 cup of pineapple and 1/4 cup of date paste. So that's going to sweeten everything. And to create the sour cream, I have 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar and 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. So that'll sour it up to give it more of a cream cheese quality. And this is an experiment, so let's see what happens.
And explain again to us how you make your date paste.
Okay, the date paste is equal parts date and water. So I put a cup of water and a cup of dates in my Vitamix, let it run for a minute. That's it. That's
Okay,
simple.
great.
Yeah, I'm gonna stir down the sides. It might take a little while because I don't want to add much liquid to it. And I want it to be thick and spreadable like a frosting. Let's see what it tastes like.
Yeah, let me taste.
Well, it's interesting. What do you think?
Yeah. I think it's very good. I think you got it. It tastes very much like a sour cream that's been sweetened,
Uh-huh.
which is what I assume you're after.
Yeah, yeah. So it looks like it might still have a little bit of lump in it, but I think that's enough for the demonstration. Oh,
It's good.
it is really nice.
Yeah.